On the sidelines of the 28th CSPOC as this forum nears completion, joining me is a special guest, Mr. Stephen Twigg, Secretary General of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Mr. Twigg, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
To begin with our conversation, give us and our viewers a sense of how has your overall experience been of attending this conference in India?
Well, it's been an amazing conference, and India has done the Commonwealth proud with high level of discussion, a wide range of amazing speakers, and of course superb hospitality here in Delhi this week.
Looking at the challenges, the themes were very timely and relevant, the key themes that were discussed and deliberated upon over the last 2 days. What have been some of the most important outcomes that you see which pertains to the challenges that persist and which also gives the developing countries best practices and experiences to look at to deal with these challenges?
So you're right, the themes are exactly the right themes for us to be looking at. We are in an incredibly challenging time where many things that we hold dear, democracy itself, good governance. And one of the themes of this week has been about the relationship between parliaments and citizens, ensuring that parliaments are effective in their communication with citizens. Social media and how it can be a great positive in reaching people and engaging with people of all ages, especially young people, but also how sometimes it has a negative side where we've seen social media used as a way to bully and harass parliamentarians, particularly women parliamentarians in all parts of the world.
Given that democracy is backsliding and democratic institutions are undermined in several parts of the world, how do you look at the significance of platforms like the CSPOC in upholding democratic values but also strengthening the democratic institutions?
So my day job, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, we are all about supporting parliaments, learning from parliaments, and it's been great this week to hear speakers, presiding officers and others tell us about the things that they are doing to engage with citizens, whether it's here in India, whether it's in Kenya, in the continent of Africa, or in Guyana in the continent of the Americas, from whom we were hearing earlier on today. It is all for me about learning from one another, mutual learning. The Commonwealth has to be a partnership of equals, countries, whether they're big or small. And here we are in the biggest country in the world by population, but we have members where the population is under 1,000. So that is a huge range, but all of those voices need to be heard. The global south and the global north, all of those voices need to be heard. And a real strength of CSPOC, CSPOC this week, as in the CPA, is that all of those different voices are heard and we learn from each other.
So which of the sessions on these important themes that we just spoke about generated the most excitement and we can say most participation from the speakers and the presiding officers and the delegations who were part of these sessions?
So let me say, first of all, speakers and presiding officers are very busy people, they're senior people, and it's great to see them all in a room, listening to each other as well as speaking to each other. And I certainly wouldn't want to pick out one subject over another. I attended workshops that have happened through the week on things like social media, like artificial intelligence. These are big topics. Artificial intelligence is a huge challenge, but also a massive opportunity for parliaments in terms of their efficiency, in terms of the possibilities for public services to be improved in key areas like health and education. But we also know that there is a downside. There is the question of regulation. There is the risk of things like deep fakes and the impact that that can have on the democratic process. And I've very much enjoyed the balanced approach that participants have taken in those discussions throughout this conference.
How do you see the discussions that have taken place here translating into significant outcomes through national parliaments? Because as you said, CSPOC is all about sharing the best practices, exchanging ideas and experiences, but also at the same time deliberating on the challenges that democracies worldwide are reeling under.
And that's where we come in. So the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, our job is to provide that support to parliaments across the Commonwealth, national and indeed at state level. And of course here in India, the Indian states are members of the CPA as well as the India Union Parliament. So for example, on artificial intelligence, we held a conference in Malaysia at the end of last year looking at how we can give more practical support to parliaments across the world. We teamed up with the Parliamentary Union and the United Nations Development Programme to deliver that conference. It issued the Kuala Lumpur Declaration looking at how we can ensure there are guardrails around artificial intelligence, harness the opportunities, but also address the challenges.
How will the CPA now take forward some of the meaningful dialogues, discussions that have taken place at the 28th edition of the CSPOC, which has been the largest in terms of participation? It's been also one of the grandest events we've seen as far as CSPOC is concerned. In terms of the benchmark that's been set, but in terms of translating these discussions into significant outcomes.
Well, it certainly has set a benchmark, and of course the United Kingdom, London, will be hosting in 2 years' time, and it's I was at the CSPOC last but one in Canberra, Australia, and it's always wonderful to see everyone coming together. We in the CPA will be looking at what's happened this week, as well as myself. Our chairperson, Dr. Christopher Kalila, Member of Parliament from Zambia, has been here. He's addressed the conference. We will report to the officers and the executive of the CPA. And then when we have our conference in South Africa in September of this year, many of the same challenges will be discussed, many of the same themes will be considered, but hopefully work will have developed in the meantime to provide more support to parliaments in these key areas that have been addressed this week.
We are glad our leadership could be able to meet up to the expectations, set a benchmark as far as organizing such events are concerned. But most importantly, the fact that the larger objective of India's approach is development for all. We believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. In fact, Prime Minister Modi did assert in his inaugural speech yesterday that in India democracy has flourished, democracy thrives because democracy delivers, and that's something which has brought about a transformation in our country in the last decade or so. How would you reflect on India's leadership, which reaffirms India's commitment to strengthen parliamentary cooperation, to strengthen the approach of development for all, benefit of humanity?
Well, first of all, it was wonderful to hear that said, that democracy and development go hand in hand, because so often these days people question that link and people point to more authoritarian or less democratic countries and suggest that they've made great development. And I was so delighted to hear the Prime Minister make that important connection. And I think there is a real opportunity here to build upon this. India's leadership, critical in the Commonwealth, but also in other forums like G20, in regional forums and elsewhere. And one thing I would love is to be back here soon for you to host our conference, because I've been here for regional CPA conferences, but I would love to have an international Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference bringing together all of our members here in India, because that would really showcase the significance that India places on the Commonwealth and on the importance of our work together.
Another critical challenge, Mr. Twigg, about which the IPO chairperson referred to is the growing mistrust among citizens as far as the parliamentary institutions, as far as the democratic institutions are concerned. Where do you see is the gap that persists in a lot of these countries where democracy is backsliding and people have begun to undermine democratic institutions? And how can the parliaments play a key role, especially the presiding officers as well, come in big as far as retaining the trust and strengthening the trust of the people is concerned?
Absolutely. I think that trust point is of crucial importance, and as you rightly say, it is about trust in Parliament and parliamentarians and politics and politicians, but it speaks to a deeper issue of a decline in trust more generally in traditional institutions. And I would say that has a positive side as well as a negative side. It partly reflects that people are more questioning perhaps than they would have been in the past. There's less automatic deference to authority, and I think in a democracy those are good things, but I think it also has a very negative side when it spreads to misinformation, disinformation, highly personal ways of going about politics. We've heard some really good examples today from across the Commonwealth of ways in which young people, in fact children and young people, can learn more about the importance of Parliament, not in a partisan way, but just to learn about Parliament as an institution. And for me, a big part of the answer, it's not the only answer, is education and Parliament's role in raising awareness and starting with children at school and young people at college, so they understand the history and all of the different issues that need to be addressed. But we also have to recognise that parliaments and parliamentarians have a responsibility to be open and transparent and to acknowledge when they get things wrong as well as celebrate when they get things right.
Finally, what message would you like to give to our viewers and even the speakers and delegates watching our program about the importance and the strength of parliamentary cooperation, and why in today's world it's cooperation that will take the world forward?
Well, great that people are watching, and thank you for watching. And I think this channel is a great example of really positive practice that can be learned from throughout the Commonwealth and in the wider world. And I think my main message would be that this stuff is so critically important and that we really need to do everything we can to strengthen the links between citizens and institutions, including parliaments.
That's been one of the key objectives of the 28th CSPOC being hosted by India. We hope that these deliberations are translated into significant outcomes and that the next CSPOC is able to take on these ideas and deliberations further. Thank you, Mr. Twigg, for joining us for this conversation, talking to us about not just India's hospitality, but the significant outcomes that have emerged of this very, very important meeting. It's been wonderful interacting with you on all these aspects. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed.
That's it from us on this telecast, viewers. Thank you very much for your time as well.